China has for a long time been implementing various kinds of industrial policies and so on, subsidizing different sectors, subsidizing different industries. Ursula von der Leyen, in her speech to the Union in Europe, discussed the electrical vehicles in China and how they compete with European companies in an unfair way. In the US, we have the Inflation Reduction Act, which is a lot about subsidizing things. In Europe, we have green industrial deals, similar kinds of policies. It's supposed to handle, of course, big international challenges, but it turns out to be policies that tax, regulate, or subsidize various kinds of industries. Bureaucrats, the state, is subsidizing various things, regulating various things. We discussed in Europe strategic autonomy in various sectors where the European Union not uses the market, international order of export and imports and so forth, but they focus on certain industries, creating barriers and so on. So this is one perspective on how to handle competition. It's competition as a discovery procedure. We use markets, the competition on markets, to select what kind of ideas, what kind of innovations really work. The entry of new firms, entrepreneurship, and so on. So it focuses on the creation of knowledge and dissemination of knowledge through the commercial exploitation by these things on the market. This is an alternative perspective here. Innovation is coming up with ideas, but innovation, that's putting them to the market, right? Putting them to the test of commercialization. Do the customers, do the consumer really value these innovations? Then when it's scaled up, a real innovation. So when we studied this, we evaluated this, often the expected positive effects of these kinds of policies are quite disappointing, actually. So usually you have quite vague goals of these programs. It's hard to evaluate them. You start one program, then you start the next one. It's like a mess of different kind of messages. There's clear signs that it crowds out private investment. And it also creates what we call subsidy entrepreneurs. That is companies, entrepreneurs who go for the money, the state money, instead of going for the money on the market. We do know that investments in RD do have these public goods property rights. It benefits everyone in the longer run. Therefore, there's not enough investments in these kind of things. But the existence of these market failures, as we call them, is not enough. We also have to think about political failures. If markets fail, not enough investments, we also have to look, can the politics, the bureaucrats, as I say here, handle these challenges? And it turns out that these political failures are equally important. There are huge information problems, picking winners and so on. There are huge incentive problems here. What kind of incentives do state bureaucrats have when they invest in these sectors and use these subsidies? So why do we have these kind of policies if they don't deliver? Well, there's great support for this, of course. Lots of agencies in this country as well. I heard the Prime Minister here yesterday saying that 12 different sectors are subsidized in this country. The bureaucrats themselves like this. The industries like it, of course. And they thrive on this. And the cost, of course, is spread out over everyone else by raising taxes. It's easy to justify politically in all countries these kinds of support. So what's the alternative? Well, the state does have a role. Someone said here in another session, science first. I think that's very important. We need public subsidies for research and so on, the really fundamental things. When it comes to innovation, putting things on the market, commercializing things, it's a different story. So what we instead should do, and this is an important role of the state, it's to make sure that markets work. Keep international trade open, of course, make sure that property rights are defined, intellectual property rights, abolish barriers to innovation, because we have many barriers in many sectors due to regulations, too high taxes, and so on and so forth. And of course, and I think this would be a key issue in Asia, is to promote, of course, labor mobility. In the US, we have a lot of labor mobility, so do we in Scandinavia, actually. So people, I mean, ideas moves with people.